consider him to be superior to me. I consider that he will be a dweller of the paradise, and I am worthy of the hellfire. I consider myself to be the most inferior amongst humans, and the worst sinner of all. I constantly fear the hellfire. This is the reason for the paleness on my face. The devout person, the worshipper, he went back to his mountain. And the narrator, Hazrat Sayyidina Khalid bin Ayub, rahmatullahi ta'ala, further states that the cobbler, he excelled the worshipper on the basis of considering himself to be the worse than others, and considered all others to be destined for heaven except for him. So this particular person, his mindset was that everybody is better than me. Everybody is more worthy of paradise than me. I'm the person that is worthy of the hellfire, nobody else. And so he had this fear. He had this fear inside him that I am going to the hellfire. I'm going to be in that hellfire. Whereas everybody else, no matter what little ibadah they do in his eyes, they were better than him. And there's a message there for all of us, that when we look at others, instead of looking to them to be better than us, many of us, we look down on people. We think we are better than anybody else. And because of this, Allah Azza wa Jal elevated the status of this particular person, that he didn't look down on people. He looked up to people and thought, this person is more pious than me, this person is more pious than me, this person is going to heaven, this person is going to heaven, and I'm going to the hellfire. And he had this extreme fear inside him. With regards to this, this is an ayat of the Holy Quran in which Allah Azza wa Jal says, O people, we have indeed created you from one man and one woman, and we've made you into various nations and tribes that you may recognize one another. Indeed, the most honorable amongst you, according to Allah Azza wa Jal, is the one who is most pious amongst you. Indeed, Allah Azza wa Jal is all-knowing and all-aware. Hakim al-Ummad, Sayyidina Hazrat Mufti Ahmad Yar Khan Naimi, rahmatullah, elaborates on this ayat. He says that mankind originated from Sayyidina Hazrat Adam al-Islam. And he says that since their origin, that Sayyidina Hazrat Adam al-Islam, his origin was soil, was dirt, was clay. And he says that if you are made of clay, why are you boasting about yourself? Why do you think yourself you're so good that you're made of dirt, and yet you think you're it, you think you're something special? Explaining the background on the revelation of this sacred ayah, the Mufti, he writes, on a particular day, the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he was near the market and he saw somebody there, and this person says, whoever employs me shall not ban me from offering my 5 daily salahs behind the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This person, he made it a condition that whoever gives me a job, I'll take the job on one condition, that you don't stop me from reading my namaz behind the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And it said that one day that this particular servant, he fell ill, and the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam visited him. And then later on, this particular person, he passed away as well, and the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was there at his burial. And the people, they were shocked. They were saying to him that why, he's a small individual, he's a servant, and yet Ya Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you've gone to his burial, you've given him so much time. And the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam related that same ayat that I read before, and I'll read it out to you again. O people, we have indeed created you from one man and from one woman, and we have made you into various nations and tribes that you may recognize one another. Indeed, the most honorable amongst you, according to Allah Azza wa Jal, is the one who is most pious among you. Indeed, Allah is all-knowing, all-aware. If we look at this particular event that took place, with this person that in the eyes of the community, he wasn't a great person, he wasn't a rich person, he wasn't a wealthy person, he wasn't an influential person, he needed a job. What was the condition he put on? That I will work for anybody on this condition, that nobody stops me from reading my namaz behind the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam 5 times a day. Reflect on ourselves when we're looking for a job, when we're looking to open a business. How many of us put this condition on ourselves? Okay, I will take a job, I will work whatever you want, I will work night shifts, I'll work day shifts, I'll run a shop, I'll do whatever business you want on the condition that I can read my namaz 5 times a day. How many of us put that condition on ourselves when we're looking for a job? Or is the only condition when we look for a job, do we look at the pound side at the bottom and see how much the salary is? Do we see how many holidays we're going to get? Do we see how many benefits we're going to get? Or do we look at the job and think, you know what, if I have this job, I'll be able to read my Fajr easy enough. If I had this job, I'll be able to take break for Zuhur. If I had this job, I'll be able to read my Asr. If I have this job, I'll be able to read Maghrib. I'll be able to read Isha. Is that the conditions that we have? No. We just look at that pound sign at the bottom. How much are we getting per hour? £10 an hour, that's good. £12 an hour, that's even better. £15 an hour, I'll take it. We don't even look at what the timings are. We don't even look at what effect it's going to have on our life, whether we're going to be able to read our namaz or not. We don't care. We're just bothered about that pound sign. And we need to think about this, my dear brothers. Sayyidina Abu Huraira radiyallahu ta'ala is reported that the Prophet of Allah sallallahu ta'ala was reported to have said that undoubtedly Allah Azza wa Jal has removed you from vanity and boasting due to the heritage from the ignorant era, from the time of Jahiliyyah. Now there are either pious Muslims or evil and doomed ones. So this arrogance, this pride that we have inside ourselves where we think we are better than anybody else. The Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says that there are pious Muslims and there are those people who are arrogant, those people who think they're it, those people who think they know everything. So we need to remove this from ourselves. We shouldn't be thinking of ourselves as better than other people as well. Sayyidina Hazrat Ali radiyallahu ta'ala reports that the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that on the day of judgment, humans will be made to stand in front of Allah Azza wa Jal. And Allah Azza wa Jal will declare, "O people, I revealed commandments and you ignored them. You elevated your lineage and you used to brag with each other. Today I declare your lineage to be worthless and insignificant. Where are the pious ones? Where are the pious ones? Undoubtedly the most esteemed amongst you in the merciful sight of Allah Azza wa Jal are the ones who excel in piety." So we're told here that those people who think that, oh, I'm from this brotherly, I'm from that brotherly, I'm from this family, I'm from that family, I'm from this caste, I'm from this place, that I am better than you, I'm better than you. The Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is saying none of you is better than anybody except for the one who is best in the sight of Allah Azza wa Jal. And who is the best in the sight of Allah Azza wa Jal? The person who is the most pious. So if you want to compete with each other, we shouldn't be competing with each other who has the best house, who has the best car. We should have this competition, who is pleasing Allah Azza wa Jal the most? Who is trying to please Allah Azza wa Jal the most? Allahu Akbar. So we can see, my dear Islamic brothers, the only people who are esteemed in the sight of Allah Azza wa Jal, they are the ones that will attain success. Allah Azza wa Jal says in Surah Maryam, part 16, ayat 85, "On the day when we shall take the righteous people towards the most gracious as guests." On that day, on this earth, even those blessed people live in stable homes rather than robust bungalows. People that live in simple places, they are the best people in the sight of Allah Azza wa Jal. Allah Azza wa Jal said, and it was said to those who fear, "What has your Lord sent down?" They said, "Goodness." Thus for those who did good in this world, there is a goodness for them. And undoubtedly, the final home is the best place. And definitely what an excellent final home it is for those that are pious. People who are believed to be insignificant on this earth. People that are pushed away from the footsteps, the doorsteps of those people that are rich. People that are pushed away from influential people because, oh, what is he? He's got nothing. He's not a rich person, he's not a wealthy person, he's not an educated person, he's not a person in a position of status, or who we think is not in a position of status. But those people who follow the commands of Allah Azza wa Jal, who offer the salah punctually, who fast and earn and feed their families and a halal livelihood, fear Allah Azza wa Jal and live their lives according to the sunnah, safeguard their eyes and hearts, perform other good deeds as well, they will be treated with tremendous reverence in the afterlife. Them are the people that we should look up to. The Prophet of Allah, Sayyidina Hazrat Aisha Siddiqa radiyallahu anha, she said that the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he was never amazed by anything. Nothing amazed him. When anybody came, when anything was brought to him, he wasn't amazed by anything. He said he was never amazed by any worldly thing, but he was always amazed when there was a certain individual who was a praise muqtadi, a person that was a pious muttaqi, a pious person. He was amazed by that person. So that was the only thing that caught the eye, you could say, of the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When he saw somebody that was devout, was pious, this is what caught the eye of the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Those people that had big bungalows, big houses, big cars, big coatis, they were of no interest to the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is reported to have said, "The excellence of knowledge is more than the excellence of worship, And the best thing of your deen is taqwa, i.e. piety. Hazrat Sayyidina Abu Hurairah radiallahu ta'ala narrates that someone asked the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Ya Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, who is the most honorable individual? Who is the best individual? Who is the best person? And the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam replied, the one who is the most pious amongst people. He is the best person. But in our eyes, who is the best person? In our community, who do we think is the best person? And is it because he comes to the masjid 5 times a day? Is it because we see him sitting in the masjid reading his Quran all day? Is it because we see him living a pious life? If we see him because he's earning a halal income, is he the person that we look up to in our community? Or is it that person that has power, that has influence, that has money, that has the best car, that has the best house, that's got the best position, dunyavi position, the position in this world? Is he the person that we look up to? And unfortunately, that is the person that we look up to. We don't look up to those pious people. Those people who maybe in their lives, when you look at them, they're living a simple life. They haven't got the best car. They haven't got the best house. They haven't got the best job. But they have that taqwa inside them. They have that fear of Allah Azza wa Jal inside them. They have that piousness inside them where they're at the masjid every day. They are the best amongst us. And it's not necessarily that person. You do not know who is the best amongst us. That person who comes to this masjid 5 times a day, reads in the first saf, he's the best amongst us. Not us that have our big cars, big houses. Allahu Akbar. Hazrat Sayyidina Ibn Masud radiallahu narrates that the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to do dua. He said, "O Allah Azza wa Jal, I implore you to grant me guidance, grant me piety, get me purity and independence, free from all want." ये भी एक दुआ हमारे लिए होना चाहिए, that we should do dua, that we should be free of all needs, free of anything that we need in this dunya. Hakim al-Ummat Mufti Ahmad Yaqub Khan Nemei Rahmatullahi Ta'ala narrates with regards to this particular hadith. He says that the guidance that the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam refers to is praiseworthy beliefs. Piety refers to praiseworthy deeds. Purity refers to abstinence from sins, and richness refers to being self-sufficient, only depending on Allah Azza wa Jal and His Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And this supplication incorporates all of those virtuous needs. So my dear Islam, piety, being pious is something that we should all try and aspire to. And unfortunately, we don't aspire to be pious. We aspire to be rich. Because we realize that within the community, people will look at me. If I have the biggest koti back home, people will look up to me. If I have the biggest house here, people will look up to me. If I have the biggest car here, people will look up to me. But that should not be our goal. Our goal should be to try and be as pious as possible. Sayyidina Imam Muhammad Ghazali Rahmatullahi Ta'ala states, he says, piety is a rare treasure. If you succeed in acquiring it, you will find invaluable gems and pearls along with an incredible treasure of knowledge, spiritual fortune, venerated sustenance, remarkable success, incredible blessings, and the ownership of the grand kingdom, i.e. paradise. He goes on to say, think of it this way. Piety encompasses all blessings pertaining to this life as well as the afterlife. Just ponder over the glorious Quran, he says. In one place it declares, if you become pious, you shall own all forms of virtue and blessings. In other places, the Quran promises astounding spiritual rewards for being pious. And in some places, Allah Azza wa Jal declares piety and devoutness to be the sole route to good fortune. Basically, if you want to be successful, then you need to be pious. And if you want to be pious, then we need to change how we are. We know how to be pious. We know how, as Muslims, how we should live our lives. But if we live our lives as Muslims, as we should live our lives, then that is the success for all of us. Imam Ghazali Rahmatullahi lists 12 benefits of piety. And he says that these 12 lists come from the glorious Quran. He says, Allah Azza wa Jal praises the pious individuals. Pious individuals are saved and protected from enemies. Allah Azza wa Jal supports and helps pious people. Pious people will be guarded from horrors and calamities in the afterlife. On this earth, pious people will be blessed with halal livelihoods. The deeds of pious will get reformed. All sins of a pious person are forgiven due to the blessing of his piety. Pious people become friends of Allah Azza wa Jal. Piety elevates the deeds of pious people to the status of acceptance. Pious people deserve reverence and honor in the court of Allah Azza wa Jal. Pious people are given glad tidings of seeing Allah Azza wa Jal when they die, along with salvation in the afterlife. Pious people shall remain protected from the fire of hell, along with having the privilege of residing in paradise forever. Forever. Sayyidina Imam Muhammad Ghazali rahmatullahi ta'ala, he says that these 12 blessings of being pious are taken from the Quran. Hazrat Sayyidina Dawood bin Rashid rahmatullahi narrates, once in Syria there lived two handsome people. They themselves narrated this particular event. They were classed as devout people, pious people. They themselves narrated this event. One day, they said that we were terribly hungry, and I said to my companion, let's go to such and such desert, and there we'll preach to the people in order to gain salvation in the afterlife. So they were hungry, but they also decided that we'll go to the desert, and we'll meet people there, and we'll give them neki kitab, we'll invite them to piety, so that we can be successful in the afterlife. So this was their intention. Therefore we advanced to the desert. Upon our arrival, we came across a dark-skinned man carrying a bundle of sticks on his head. We said to him, tell us, who is your creator? Allahu Akbar. Hearing this question, the man threw the bundle of sticks on the ground and he sat on it. Then he said to them, don't ask me who my creator is, rather you should ask me in which corner of my heart does faith reside. Which corner of my heart has faith in it? The two individuals, they said, my companion and I stared at each other, faces in astonishment upon hearing the man's mystic response. Why don't you respond, he said. Ask me. Verily, a student should not shy away from asking questions. Unable to respond to the man's questions, we remained silent. Noticing our silence, he implored Allah Azza wa Jal, O great majestic one, you know extremely well you have servants whose du'as are accepted, and you should certainly fulfill the du'as. And this person in the middle of the desert that had sticks on his head that he put on the ground, he said, Oh Allah Azza wa Jal, please transform my sticks into gold. Hardly a moment had passed since the utterance of these words when the bundle of sticks had transformed into gold. He then said, O my Lord Azza wa Jal, undoubtedly your most beloved servants are the ones who have no desire for fame. Ya Rab, transfer these gold bricks back into sticks. No sooner had he done this dua than the gold bricks, they turned back into sticks again. My dear Islamic pious people, they're very important in Islam. You know, if you want to appoint a particular individual to a certain status, a certain position, don't just look at his worldly wealth, look at how pious he is. It's narrated in a Ya'alum that there was once a Sufi saint who had a young disciple, a young murid. The pious saint, he gave tremendous respect to a certain murid. He gives tremendous respect to a certain murid. And the other murids, they got jealous. And they said to the saint that why is it that he's a younger student of yours? He's a young student of yours. We've been your murid for so much time, yet you're giving him more respect, you're giving him more love, you're giving him more time. What about us? And the pious saint, he got birds, some live birds, and he gave them to all of his murids, including this young disciple.